what's perfect about this car is its imperfection. But that doesn't really last for long before I start thinking. What can I do with it? What can I do with it to make it mine or better than mine? It is actually quite solid. It's not covered in dents. It has rust on the wing there, which I would be very surprised if that hasn't come from the inside. It has a secondary MG badge for people who are cross-eyed. Actually, Owner's MG Club, it says. Another rusty wing, which there's a bit of rust going on down there, and there's some respray work going on which hasn't been done that well. The bit that catches my eye the most is actually this part. I'm in the light. Let's try that. This part here, it's had some respray work, a bit of filler in there by the looks of it. But that all sounds solid enough. Lack appeal. More than lack appeal, it's lack appeal, and then the paint underneath has crazed. That could do with dealing with. And then at the back, of course, we have this dent, which was done by a clumsy truck driver. And it's also affected the boot somewhat as well. But as far as dents go, I quite like that one. It reminds me of like a scar. Yeah, well, I mean, that's essentially what it is. When a man ends up with a scar on his knee, for example, where he fell on a rock doing cross-country running, he likes to tell people about it. A signpost of something significant that's happened. So my urge to remove that dent is somewhat limited. And anyway, the boot itself would be rather awkward to deal with because it's rippled in places. The boot actually would probably need replacing. You can probably guess that the only thing I'm going to do with it at the moment is wash it. Now I could go into detailing it, but two problems there. One is that it's not going to make it look much better, and the other is that my detailing skills aren't quite as good as you'd think. As I have found out with this yellow bonnet, once it went outside into the sunlight. Today I would actually like to be getting on with that, but unfortunately I have less than 2 hours available to me at work today. Good door shut sounds, listen. It's not that good actually, is it? So with the roof up, I shall commence washing it and see how good the seal is. Now, it's not going to be that good. It's impossible for the seal to be that effective. If this isn't soaking wet in there by the time I've finished, I will be exceedingly surprised. Checking for leaks, and there's no way that with a right good hosing down it wasn't going to leak a little bit somewhere, because it's just impossible for it not to do. I haven't checked yet, but no doubt in the handbook it actually tells you not to wash this car. Going to try and get these wheels cleaned up a bit because they are a bit on the glossy side. Then, one panel at a time, I shall clay bar and buff and wax, much like I started doing on Nigel about 6 weeks back, but haven't finished. The difference is that this car has had all that stuff done already all over, and it's in here so it can be done, you know, properly. The MGF, known as Wetleg, will benefit from just one quick go over. So it's had its first wash, and I brought it up to the fettling area, where I shall start the process of clay barring. The bit that gets my attention the most is probably the boot lid, because it's just so swirly and rough looking. Oh! Very, very dirty. 6 minutes past 11. That gives me another 50 minutes to play with this. Now so far I've used this with this and that, and then this thing, which is much kinder, and just look at the result. Wiped off, and as you can see, or you might be able to see, it is better, but it's still really rather hazy. The trouble is the paint is cracking. It's beginning to craze in places. In fact, most places, and it's never going to be right. But I can make it better. However, it does make me think about the future of what this car is going to look like. If it wasn't for the fact that this car is silver, I probably wouldn't have it in the first place because Boaty wouldn't have acquired it. But of course, silver's not the best colour for an MG anyway, is it? Be honest, would you like an MGF in silver or red? Red seems to be the obvious choice, doesn't it? Or yellow, or black. Not black. If this car is a long-termer, I can think about this kind of thing, because that's never going to look great. I can just have it as a bit of a beater, or I can think about possibly respraying it at some point. I have the gear, but currently no idea. That will change. I bought all the spraying gear originally to do Doris, and then I thought about Fred the Shed, how that could possibly be a very different looking car. But that is just a shed, whereas this has a bit more potential. There's a lot more potential actually. Fred the Shed may as well just stay a shed, but become a useful towing tool. That's what I'm thinking now. Whereas this, a couple of ideas. A respray, yes, of course. It's not a big car, so that means that as far as resprays on a whole car is concerned, that you wouldn't get that much easier than this one because you don't have to worry about the roof even. It's a small body, no roof. But what colour? Yellow? Yeah. Red? Yeah. Blue. What kind of blue? Trophy blue? Too many. It's a bit common, isn't it? Pearl black. Nice, but it doesn't really go with the MG in the same way that the silver one doesn't. It's red or yellow or something just a little bit out there. Speaking of yellow, I happen to have a trophy yellow boot knocking about, but I can't find it. I don't know where it's gone. And that would have done two jobs. Would have fixed the one that's there, and also it could have given me the idea of having another Nigel. Yeah, just like a proud dad. How long have you had Nigel now? Oh, 4 years. You're thinking of having another one? Well, I wasn't, but it's starting to. The urge is starting to creep in. I actually think a multicoloured MGF would look really cool. Come on, just picture it. Picture it. Can you? Most people right now may be thinking, come on, stop messing around with this idea, keep it original. Spray it if you want to, but spray it back its original colour. Make it look like it did when it came out the factory. There's too many sensible people around, that's the trouble. But that is another option. So far, it just doesn't appeal to me. I'd rather just leave it alone. It's too low to go over that bump there. The respray it the same colour that it happens to be, so far, is my least favourite idea. And I have two more thoughts that will keep it in that place actually. Rather than a standard colour, how about like a really weird garish colour that isn't standard, that's bespoke to this car? Take a colour that's quite nice and then just add something else to it so it does make it different. Now, just going to ponder some possibilities here. Yeah, I like that idea actually. But then finally, another idea that's occurred to me, and this will set it apart from the other MGFs, although it's not an original idea. What about you're not going to like this one, to rat it? And I don't mean the really stupid thing where you have pretend rusty plastic bumpers, but yeah, some sort of ratting idea. I'm going to think on that one as well. And I don't think that's going to make me popular with anybody. That's why I'm going to take it seriously. Wetleg the Titty Biscuits. You might think I should change the name of this car, but I'm not going to. I like it. Fun car. To help this car today though, I'm going to do a couple of jobs to make sure it feels looked after, and then will therefore try and look after me in return. First and most importantly, I noticed that there's an indicator flashing too quickly. And that's a bit broken, isn't it? It's not going to get any better fixed by just doing that. But it's not going to stop me because I'm having so much fun. When's it going to stop? At some point soon, I hope. Yeah. Right, well that was strange. That's not even really attached. It's just kind of in the hole. I wonder why that is. What's missing? Yes. As far as rear lamps are concerned, I have loads of those. If you count 3 as loads, and I do. When you only need 1, 3 is a lot. The only thing is, they're the wrong 3. They're all for the passenger side. I have at least found some nuts. Lefty loosey, din din din, lefty loosey, ka-dicka-dicka-dicka. And no, I haven't disconnected the battery so I could change a lamp. That's good. Right, this is a lot easier to do when you take the roof down. Nigel has now got the nicer steering wheel that looks exactly the same but without the wear. Even so, I think this is an improvement. I just hope I've got the wheel on straight. Righty tighty, ka-ding ding ding, righty tighty, that's enough. Good, on. Airbag light's not on, so all is excellent. In the rear lamp wiring loom, we appear to have some unconventional earthing and another strange bit there. So I'm just going to check that everything is still working around the back. Well, that's another one that doesn't work. So I suspect that this earth wire has come off the thing there and has stopped some of the stuff from working. And the side lamp doesn't work because of that. He's a grumpy bugger, is this skip driver. I know. It's a small victory, but they are supposed to work, aren't they? With this lens cluster thing being loose, the earth wire's kind of just made its way somewhere else. And now it's gone home. I can tell when it's the grumpy skip driver before I've even seen him, because he does this with the gate and then doesn't close it afterwards. Right, now I get a chance to try out the MG with the new steering wheel, and as you may have noticed, it is dark. Come on, grip. Just been on a little mission to go and collect a car, you see, and it took, well, I wouldn't say it took a bit longer than expected, but the chap had sent me a message in reply to something and I didn't notice it until 3 hours later. So that meant that whilst Bolty had come down, we went and bought and had lunch and everything before we even had the opportunity to go off and buy the thing. But that's irrelevant, because what I want to tell you here is that this car now, with Nigel's leather steering wheel, feels even more fantastic. Now, somebody asked me last night in my live stream that I was doing, what is my dream car? And I said, well, actually probably the car that I have, the MGF. And I wasn't lying. I can't imagine ever getting bored of this thing. It's just fantastic. I can't imagine you getting bored of seeing videos about it, so I'm going to end this one